Welcome to the preview episode for the SmokeShow podcast by Embers TV. I am Carlos Bradley, also known on social media as Smoke and Vine. And with me, I have Jeremy Yoder. How's it going, Jeremy?
It's really good. Surrounded up to my eyeballs in barbecue stuff, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So a lot of stuff as it relates to Embers TV going on, and just in the barbecue world in general is barbecue is kind of like a tidal wave that's kind of taking over not just the country but the world, and it's cool to have a front row seat for that.
It really is. I was on a call today with a production house that makes shows and content for TV and for like the outdoor channel and whatever. And they are trying to sell us a shit ton of shows. And they had all of these like staggering numbers and statistics about like how this explosion of barbecue and outdoor cooking content has taken over the world in the last 3 years. And it's crazy because like I talk to people about that all the time, but to hear other people say the same thing, but like even have more data than I've ever had, it just kind of justifies that, like, yeah, this barbecue thing is kind of taking over.
But do you notice a thing in yourself? Like, I know if I heard somebody say that, I would think, yeah, definitely. You know what I'm talking about. But then also, I kind of feel this weird thing. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm like, yeah, I've been telling people this for years. And it's almost like they're stealing my thunder because I was like the one always telling people. And just like, now somebody's telling me. And I'm like,
yeah, I've been saying it.
Yeah.
I've been saying it. Now, you said something a minute ago that we haven't really spoken about public yet, and that's really the purpose for this preview episode, this preview podcast episode. You said and you mentioned Embers TV.
I sure did.
What the hell is that?
Embers TV is it's basically a streaming service for barbecue, open fire cooking, any kind of outdoor cooking. Essentially, it is for people who love barbecue. If you like barbecue, then this is the only subscription you're ever going to refuse to cancel. Because for me, when I open, I have, I think, subscriptions to 5 streaming services on my phone, my smart TV, computer, all my electronic devices. And this is how it always works. I'll open one and I'm like, watched it, don't want to see it, close. Open the next one, watched it. New season? No. Old season. Don't want to watch it, close. And I just go through all of them. And at the end of it, I'm like, I don't want to watch any of the stuff on any of these platforms because it doesn't really speak to me. It's not something I'm interested in. Whereas for Embers TV, the only people who would subscribe to Embers TV are the exact people that every show is geared towards. So if you love Cooking with Fire, every show is going to speak to you. It's going to draw you in the same way that just the process of cooking with fire draws you in. And the other thing that really excites me about Embers TV is that whereas for my YouTube channel, production quality is somewhat limited, resources are somewhat limited, but with Embers TV, it's going to look like $1 million. What we're able to do as a team is going to far outstrip anything that we could do individually. And just the varied expertise from all the people who are part of this just make it bigger than just the sum of its parts, because we'll be able to just make really awesome content that I've wanted to make for years. Not just me. It's not just my ideas. Definitely not. But finally, there's a place to do this and do it right. And I hate seeing barbecue shows where it's obviously done by people who don't really know barbecue.
And don't know barbecue. Yeah.
It's close. It's an imitation of what it could be. But, I mean, yeah, that's a really good-looking shot. But that's not really the heart of the story here. And so Embers TV is going to tell those stories. It's going to educate. It's going to entertain. It's going to do for barbecue as much as any platform could. It will be, I think, the hub for all things that relate to cooking meat with fire.
Now, when do people get to see this Embers TV? When do people get to watch?
People get to watch on September 9th, I think. Yeah, September 9th.
September 9th.
That is when Embers TV launches, and you can subscribe on iOS, Android, I think, Google Play, Samsung, even maybe. I have a Samsung.
Samsung,
I'm
Amazon,
yeah,
Roku.
so everywhere. Yeah, you can find Embers TV, and you can find the Smoke Show podcast where we listen to podcasts.
Absolutely. And so, I would say like 6 months ago, a group of creators, of barbecue content creators, some of the top ones in the country, we started to build this platform called Embers TV. And it has been a tireless process, and Jeremy could for sure attest to that. The long kind of 14-hour days that we've been filming, there's a lot of just insane original content coming your way. And you're going to hear from who all those founders are on a upcoming podcast episode. So I'm not going to give anything away, but there's 7 of us. And yeah, so while we've been filming, we've also been, we've been going across the country, and we have been recording podcast episodes, and that is what the Smoke Show by Embers TV will be. And so we're insanely excited about it. Can you give people a little taste of what they can expect on the Smoke Show podcast?
Yeah, so the Smoke Show podcast, to this point, has essentially been a window into what we're doing as Embers TV. So the places that we're going, you're going to be meeting people that we interact with in those places. So when we go to Texas, it'll be people from Texas. When we go to Windy City Smokeout, it's people from Windy City Smokeout. When we go to California, it's people from California. But these are all barbecue people. And one of the things is the internet is not the greatest source for accurate information always. But one of the cool things by having these experts on podcast is we can ask them directly. So for instance, we can ask them, it's like, wait, were you there in 1999 when they had this big kerfuffle at this barbecue competition? What happened? What was the deal with that? And that question can be answered. Or somebody who's involved in like barbecue retail. It's like, all right, so shoot me straight here. What pellet grill gives you the most problems? Or which one never messes up? And it's just the truth. And you get essentially parachuted into those conversations where people who love barbecue are asking barbecue questions. It's not some journalist who specializes in financial crimes or something, and he just happens to be talking to the local pitmaster and can only think of, what kind of wood do you use? But it goes several layers deeper than that. And it's just really, I think, in my opinion, compelling stuff that we want to know as barbecue enthusiasts.
Absolutely. And, it's not just barbecue. If you're into conspiracy theories, there may be some conspiracy theory talk every once in a while. There is one episode I remember where Jeremy could not get off the topic of aliens, and so there's going to be a lot. We're going to talk about a lot. It's
That's true. Yeah,
there's no topic off the table.
To be fair, there have been many times I've been cooking with buddies, and it's like 2:00 in the morning, and we're like, "Hey, man, what do you think about aliens?" And fast forward 2 hours, we're still talking about aliens. And so it's it's just part of it. It's just, we discuss the things that you would discuss with your barbecue buddies. Yeah, and that's just one of the topics.
And we try and keep it as tame as possible in hopes to not get canceled as well. I
don't think we run into that with any guests, but I know for a fact we could have.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely could have.
Especially with, I don't want to give it, the guy that we talked to on the podcast in Chicago, he's a controversial, son of a gun.
Yeah.
Talks a lot of shit. And we could have gotten in trouble with him. So,
yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about, so we've talked about what people can expect from the Smoke Show podcast, but what are some of the things that people can be expecting from Embers TV? Can we give a little preview of some of the content that we have coming out?
Yeah. So you can kind of break it down, I think, into probably 3 categories. I mean, you could break it down into more categories, but the first is educational. I was a school teacher, and essentially what I did with my YouTube channel is I adapted what I did at school to teaching people barbecue. Whereas in the classroom, I might say, all right, today we're going to learn about ionic bonding. There are 3 important things you have to know. First of all, this positively charged, whatever, But instead, it's like, today we're cooking a brisket. And there are a couple things you need to know. First, you have to have a proper trim. And what you're looking for in the trim is X, Y, and Z. And so there's going to be educational content in the form of master classes, not just from me, but from these people who've got many years of barbecue experience. And in those master classes, we attempt to distill down everything we know about having a successful cook for you in a few minutes, along with really beautiful footage that will be just really engaging and will be really educational. So you'll feel like you're armed with all the tools you need to go out there and succeed. And even if it's a high pressure thing like, oh no, I'm inviting my boss over and I really want to impress him, you're going to be confident going into it. So there's that educational component. The second component, I would say, is entertaining. Because we all love to be entertained. And if we can be entertained with something that we're passionate about at the same time, I think that's ideal. And in the case of Embers TV, there's going to be entertaining content, like some really cool stuff. It's just a lot of fun, and it will appeal to people who like cooking. So I don't want to give away anything about the shows yet, but there'll be some competitive stuff. There'll be some banter. There'll be some definitely cooking with fire. But it will just be all around engaging and fun to watch. Like, you'll just watch it and be like, that was really cool. When does the next episode come out? And then the third kind of thing that I think runs through all the content is kind of a motivational aspect, because we're not making this content simply for you to sit on the couch and watch and be done with it. We're giving you this content in order to get you motivated to get out there and cook in your own backyard, because that's what we do. Because we're not in the business of running restaurants, though we feature restaurants and love restaurants, especially the ones who are putting out great food. But what we try to connect with is the average person who probably has a pellet grill in his or her backyard. And we want you to get out there and cook the best food you possibly can. And then we want you to share it with all the people you care about, because a rising tide raises all boats. And for us, the better the barbecue is around the country, the better it is for everyone. And that's what we want to equip you to do. And along the way, if you can laugh and you can learn, then I'd say that's a win. That's really our goal.
Love that. The rising tide raises all boats. There's a similar quote that I love. Just because you graduated doesn't mean you need to burn down the school.
That's good. I don't think I've ever heard that, but I like that a lot.
So I heard that live in a service preached by T.D. Jakes, of all people. So how about that?
T.D. Jakes.
Yeah.
It's like, get ready.
Yeah, exactly. Well, for sure, get ready for Embers TV. We're really excited to finally bring this to life. As Jeremy mentioned, September 9th is when the kickoff is when the platform goes live. If you're listening to this before September 9th, you can go to whataretheykooking.com. You could be one of the first to get access, and you'll also get an exclusive price that no one else is going to be offered, but you can get that early. So check that out, whataretheykooking.com. Well, I think for the most part, we are done here. We just kind of wanted to give the world a quick preview of what they could be expecting on the SmokeShow podcast by Embers TV, and also what they could be expecting on Embers TV. This is really going to be the first time. I'm not sure how many people initially are going to hear this preview episode, but this is the first time really that we're speaking about it. So if you are listening to this before September 9th, consider yourself lucky.
Can I add something? Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
All right, great. Looked real iffy there for a second. For the people who are considering, basically there's no obligation if you go to whataretheykooking.com and sign up, but you'll be the first to know. It's like the moment it's live, you'll have first shot at signing up. But one thing for the viewers to know is that right when we launch, that is the smallest the library is ever going to be. And we're constantly filming new stuff, editing new stuff, and putting new series out there. In addition, as the ball gets rolling, the quality of the productions and the kind of the magnitude, the size of the productions is going to increase. So we filmed first, don't get me wrong, it's great quality stuff, far better than anything that's on YouTube or is just available around the internet. both in terms of the quality of the footage and the audio, but also in terms of the quality of the information and just the compelling nature of the stories that are told. But it's only going to improve. So if you download the app, you sign up, you watch a couple of the episodes and like, wow, this is killer. Well, hold on to your horses. It's going to get even better. And the things that we have in the pipeline are so exciting. It makes my mouth water thinking about all the great food I'm going to be able to eat and the places we're going to go and the things that we're going to cook. And I want you guys to be along for the ride. And I would encourage you to go to whataretheykooking.com, sign up, and it's going to be, I think, the coolest thing to happen to barbecue in a long time.
And he's not just saying that to hype you guys up. Like literally right before we pressed record, we're talking about a trip that's coming up in the, overseas in the beginning of November. Right after we press stop, he and I have to talk about in a few more weeks where, we're going to be out in Nashville. We're filming something special out there. Marco's head is spinning. I mentioned another name. Marco's head, Marco Polo is his name. His head is spinning with just the amount of things that we're filming before the end of the year. It's massive. But it's super exciting. And yeah, so the goal is we will most likely have new content releasing every single week on Embers TV. We'll advertise when that stuff is releasing, of course. But new content will be coming to the platform all the freaking time. So if you sign up and you are one of the early ones, just know it's going to be a wild ride and it's going to be a delicious ride. And I'm super excited.
Yeah. It's barbecue content made by barbecue nerds. I'm a little bit reminded of the movie Tommy Boy, where Dan Aykroyd character says, I make car parts for the American working man because that's who I am and that's who I care about. It's kind of that sentiment, but genuine, where it's like, yo, this is the kind of content I would want to watch. So in my head, if you ask me, what do I want to see? It's the exact stuff that we're going to be, that we filmed, that we're going to be filming, that we're currently working on. It's all that stuff. So if this piques your interest, you're going to love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So remember, whataretheykooking.com. If this is before September 9th, if it's after September 9th, just go to embers.tv or download Embers TV on iPhone, iPad, Apple TV, Android. So just anywhere that there's a connected device that you're able to download apps, Embers TV will be there. And then don't forget, subscribe to the Smoke Show by Embers TV. Whether you're listening on Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, go ahead and subscribe. That way you can be alert when new podcast episodes come out. And you know what? I think that's all for today.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, we're gonna sign off. He and I are gonna stay on and talk about some travel plans. But until the next episode, we will see you later.